Thank you for joining me, Cassie Rowe with True Nature Healing, Keepers of Light. I was driving to the store to get some craft supplies with my children, who are being quiet as mice right now, and I had a very strong nudge to channel. Was listening to some Spanish guitar music and thinking about oneness, having had a personal revelation recently, which revelations are always personal. They, you make a choice, you see some synchronistic things, you have an experience, and you choose differently. You choose in love instead of where maybe in the past you would have chosen out of fear. And then all of a sudden things just they make sense, and you see connections that you didn't see before, perhaps. In my case, this was specifically about oneness, something that the Keepers channel often, something that I'm steeped in and studying often. And it was the simplest thing of seeing someone else succeed in an area that I too would like to contribute, but I've not made the time for it yet. And in seeing someone get started, my ego had the thought of, they're going to get to it first. You won't be able to, have your place amongst this area, this venue. And, it was a yucky thought. I knew it wasn't true because it made me feel bad. And so I sat with it for a couple days, and I didn't focus hard on it, but it would come back up and I would give it attention. I took it to meditation. And then all of a sudden I realized that this person was another me, another aspect of me. And that if I couldn't find support and love for the way that other person was expressing, then I was holding myself back, right? And if you're working with A Course in Miracles or any other universal truth text, others are your mirror, and what you see in them, the good and the bad, are reflections of what you hold in you. Anyway, so I noticed this, and I, instead of feeling like little Cassie ego wasn't going to be recognized for something, which, just to be completely honest, this is not a conscious thought that I had until I became aware of it, which means that I don't walk around going, ooh, Cassie ego, Cassie ego, Cassie ego, but it's there. I know it's there because I'm still in a body. Anyway, so instead of letting that hold that belief that I wasn't going to be recognized, that's irrelevant, because in accepting this oneness and realizing that we're one, it doesn't matter who is recognized, that aspect of me, right? Everyone is an aspect of me, whether it's the person at the checkout line at the grocery store, or a friend, or my daughter, my son, my husband, or someone I never met and may never encounter physically on the other side of the world. We're one. And all of the progress that anyone makes is received by the entire sonship. Okay, so all that was not even channeling, not at least stepping into channeling, but let's see what the Keepers have to say and why they were so encouraging on my drive. We are the Keepers of Light, and we are very grateful that you are joining with us today, and that this dear one felt our nudge and took time to pause what she was doing in her mundane tasks of the day, albeit they're exciting, to go craft material shopping, and took a break to receive this so that we could deliver this message to you. Now, that in and of itself is a miracle. It's a miracle because when you receive a nudge to do something from Spirit, and you take time to feel the nudge, to perhaps hear what's coming to your mind or feel what's coming to your heart, or if you're more visual, to see in your mind's eye what wants to be created. Giving time to that is a miracle in and of itself, because your egos, this ego thought system in your mind, this split in your mind, you have ego thought system, you have a divine mind. The ego thought system tries so hard to distract you. It tries to distract you with the illusion of what's outside of you. This illusion outside of you is everything that you see. It's the projection of the problem being outside of you, of the problem being because of somebody else. And the ego's mantra, we will say, is seek but do not find. And that's because it is constantly blaming outside factors for what you're feeling or what you're doing inside. And therefore, having you look again outside to try to correct those outside problems. Nothing is outside of you, dear ones. Everything that you see is simply a projection of your mind. It's showing you your beliefs. And now, we come back. That's a message we always deliver, and it bears repeating because it takes time. Time is unreal, yes, but in this three-dimensional world that you find yourselves in, the utilization of time is best for learning this information so that you can apply it in your lives. Why? Because you come closer to home, which is love. You come closer to peace. You come closer to love, which you've never left. But that split mind, that ego side of your mind, believes you have left love. And so stopping in your day and bringing through whatever wants to come through you, it doesn't have to look like a channeling as this being is doing now to spread this message. It can be anything. Giving time to that expression, that spirit expression through you, brings light and joy to the world. The whole world, everyone in the world, everything that you see. Why? Because of your oneness. This dear one just had a revelation where all of a sudden, all this talking about oneness, this knowledge that she has gained, it makes sense. The puzzle pieces have clicked, and she can feel, she can embody the oneness. She can see her connection to the birds and the person in the car next to her and the people she drives past on the road and the people she doesn't even see with her body's eyes in different places on the globe. And that connection, that joining, that awareness of your oneness is not something that can easily be put into words. Why? Because words are symbols. If you think about a word, so many words have many meanings for different people. For example, if we ask you to clear your mind, go ahead, do it. Take a few breaths. We'll present you with a word, and we want you to consider the first thing that comes to your mind when we say it. Breathe for just another minute. The word we give you is apple. For some of you, that word conjures up an image of something that's a fresh fruit and delicious and juicy and red. For some of you, it brings up a yellow apple in your mind. Still a fruit, different color. For some of you, it brings to mind the apple pie that your grandmother used to make on a certain holiday. For others, your mind went straight to the electronic devices you know as computers, as cell phones, being made by Apple. For some, you skipped eating apples altogether because you don't like them. It made you feel cringy. Some of you don't like the texture of an apple, the flavor of an apple. Some of you went straight to juice. You see, many of these things are connected, right? But the word apple contains all the meaning it has for you. And yes, it's perceived differently amongst others. And so you ask, well, how can we be one if we perceive words differently? You are all one. There's nothing that changes that. But because the world is projected from your mind, because the world is projected from your perception of how the world should look or how the world does look, you introduce distortion. And that distortion of the ego is variable depending on the person that is viewing the world. And it's not just about apples. It could be about cars. It could be a scent. It could be a song. It could be an interaction with a person. If you have, say, a large event, particularly one that's triggering, let's say that there's a car accident and you have several people involved, maybe 3 cars, maybe there are multiple people in each car, so 10 people there. Then you have the spectators, the people who viewed the accident and they've moved in, and then you have the people who are recording the events on the accident, your government people such as police officers, firefighters, EMTs. You have all these people. Let's say there are 30 people on site at a car accident. Every single person has perceived that accident differently. Take the drivers just for example. The one in the car says it was the truck's fault. The one in the truck says it was the car's fault. And they build a story around that. So you have 30 different people in this make-believe scenario, but this is something that happens. And they each have a different perception about what happened. Interesting. So this perception is a distortion. Now, it's true for each individual person. That truck driver experienced what they experienced, and that is true for them. That car driver experienced what they experienced, and it's true for them. On that level, that ego split mind level, that is what happened for them. But although there seem to be differences here, it is just because of the picture that is painted from the mind. Because in truth, the car driver is the truck driver, and they are also the EMTs and the spectators and the passengers of the vehicles. Now, this information that we give you, that we share with you, is a universal truth. It does not mean that you stop living your life. It does not mean that you stop engaging with your experience, your human experience, as you encounter things in the world. This information, A Course in Miracles, you never deny the body. You never deny the experience. You simply rise above it in your mind in a way that understands, oh, this world is for my learning. This world is here to help me see the beliefs that exist in my mind so that I can address them differently. So that instead of choosing in fear, I choose in love. And by understanding that this world is just showing me what it is that's in my mind, I can now forgive others. Why? Because they're me. And when I forgive others and I forgive myself, I exist even higher above this battleground of the ego. Now, again, we're not talking about a hierarchical better than, less than scenario. We're talking about removing yourself from the roller coaster of emotions, the roller coaster of experiences, the suffering that you create by being in the battleground of the ego. And it doesn't mean you leave the world. It doesn't mean you're aloof or that you care less or that you don't feel. It means that you simply lift up in vibration. You now view the world as it truly is, which is nothing more than a movie screen that you've projected the beliefs of your mind on. And every interaction you have, everything that you read, see, look at, those synchronicities, repeating numbers, etc., those are there to help you realize you're on track. They're there to encourage you. Oh, look, there's a clue I left myself, you say. Wonderful. This is the right direction for me. And as you continue to look at life that way, letting spirit guide you, letting your heart guide you, that emotional guidance system we've talked at length about, following that, choosing in love, you heal the entire sonship. We haven't used that word much. The sonship is the one, the everything. God, the all one creator, created the Son, you, this dear one, all these seemingly separate individuals being one son, one sonship. As you increase that frequency, you heal the sonship. You heal it in ways that you cannot understand with your brains. Why? Because the ego made the brain. It's incapable of understanding these types of truths on an intellectual level. And we can get into that another time. It seems very complex. Again, it's simple. It's simple at this level. We will leave you with this today, this thought, this remembering, this knowing that you are one. You are one with all that is. You are one with everything. From the smallest grain of sand to the creepiest insect you can imagine, to the magnificent animal that you love, to the neighbor that pisses you off, to the person that rear-ended you at a stoplight, to your family, to your best friend. Each of these things, each of these places, each of these people hold clues for you to find your way back to love. You put these here in your movie, in your illusion, to help remind you. And so you get to choose. You get to choose every day whether you, in fear, give your power away, making that thing out there the cause of what you feel in here, or if you take that power back, you're not really taking it back. You have it all along. You just pretend you don't. Taking that power back, holding it in your heart, and knowing that what you see is exactly what you want to see. And it's there to help you grow. We are the keepers of light. We love you dearly, and we thank you for spending your time with us. That was a great message. I guess I always feel like they are. Maybe I'm biased. All right. Thank you for being with me. I'm going to go inside the store now and get some craft materials with these kiddos. Thanks. Bye-bye.